The Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Quay, has referred to the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, the Political Vigilantism Bill, which is expected to deal with politically related violence in the country. The Attorney General, Gloria Kufu, appealed to MPs to consider the bill under a certificate of urgency. The committee, we understand, is in a meeting to determine whether it should be treated as an urgent item or not. We will cross over to Parliament shortly, but first, let's hear from the Speaker.
The learned Attorney General, who is also principal legal advisor to government, it's appropriate I draw attention to this matter. And Mr. Speaker, to assure you that we will support the uncompromising mood of the President in a hurry to deal with vigilantism as a gravest threat to our constitutional democracy and to the peace and security of our country. I've seen the Attorney General bill accompanied by an explanatory memorandum, so that satisfies that requirement. Except that, Mr. Speaker, the Commission of Inquiry report on ISO Wagon, as required by Article 280 of the Constitution, has not been published. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, the Attorney General has been so responsive to this matter that she sent me a personal copy. And Mr. Speaker, I do not see any Gazette indication. I want to assure that as you have referred to Order 119, the Attorney General may be relying on Article 106.13. I respect the Attorney General and her knowledge of constitutional law and its principles. I can understand the President is in a hurry to deal with it. We think that there must be...
Now, the minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, however, argued that vigilantism is an issue of grave national importance and should not be pushed through the House. We'll learn more about what he had to say, but we can go live now to Parliament, where my colleague Joseph Opoku-Gakpo has been keeping an eye on the deliberations. Joseph, what's the latest?
Well, the Committee on Constitutional and Legal Affairs, they've actually been meeting. The meeting ended a few minutes ago with the Attorney General, and some members of the Defense and Interior Committee has also been part of the report. In fact, the committee has come to a determination that this bill is of urgent nature, from what we gather. And so, you know, the minority that was raising issues with how come it hadn't been gazetted and left gazetted for 14 days before being brought to the floor of the House. And he quoted the Constitution to say, in the absence of that, then some illegality is being done because the law requires that the bill, every bill has to go to the Ghana Publishing Company in order to be published, and it's after 14 days that the gazetting had been done that it needs to come to the House. So the committee has actually determined that this bill is of urgent nature, so although the gazetting hadn't been done, there is nothing wrong with that. But with the majority and the minority, we gather, have agreed on a compromise position. And the compromise position is that although it's of urgent nature and it's keeping the 14-day gazetting period, they are not going to rush it and get it passed by tomorrow when they are expected to go on break. But the decision is that they would, go ahead, leave it. They'll go on break tomorrow. Sometime around the 29th of next month, they would be returning for more like an emergency session, and it is during that period that they would go ahead and take it through the necessary processes, the second reading and the consideration, and eventually get it approved. But they will not get it approved before the House goes on break tomorrow. So we are waiting to see. The committee will, any moment from now, the Committee on Constitutional and Legal Affairs will be presenting a report to the House on its determination that this bill is of urgent nature and the compromise position on how it should be treated before the House goes on adjournment a little later in the day and come back tomorrow to do other businesses before they eventually rise for their break tomorrow.
Right, so it is being treated as an urgent matter. However, the deliberation will be deferred until the next emergency sitting of Parliament, which is next month, end of next month. Right. Well, Joseph, so tell me...
precisely the case.
Right. So tell me, what are there any details in there that we've picked up so far? Anything of interest in this bill?
A number of them. So, for example, per what is contained in the bill, a number of the vigilante groups have been named, about 7 of them, the Hawks, the Invincible Forces, the Delta Forces, and a number of them that actually need to be disbanded. The bill is also requiring that we should have a situation where some of those groups that actually exist should go ahead and come forward and work with the political parties in order to get them disbanded. There is a penal sanction of about 10 years imprisonment for those who would be involved in the activities of some of these vigilante groups. And that's where a number of the MPs, particularly on the minority side, Mahama Yarga, for example, is raising issues with as to whether even if this bill is passed eventually, they would be able to implement it, because then they make the point that the bill makes a specific provision that when it comes to protocol services, with political party activities, it should be left solely to the security agencies. And that specific provision is left. Then there are issues about whether it may be possible to implement it after all. So the MPs indicate they will shape it further when they are debating and considering it on the floor of Parliament, even after they do the necessary consultations at the level of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Joseph Opoku Gakpo, and no doubt if there are further details of this, we will bring them to you.